Hey, what's up guys? Jake with Legacy 4x4 here again, and today we're back working on my 1990 Ford Bronco, working on the build out of my camper setup in the bed of this truck. Let's go ahead and get started on today's video. Alright, so today we're going to be building one of the two drawers. I don't want to build both drawers today because I don't have time for it. I want to take my time and make sure that these come out perfect and that they're going to do exactly what I need them to do off on the trail. So our material of choice today, I'm going to go with wood for these drawers. Sure, I could have made these out of steel, but steel is an awful lot more expensive than wood is. It does have some additional strength over what just wood would provide. It's also a lot easier for me to work with. I'm not a woodworker, I'm a steel worker. But I think wood's going to do just fine. I think it's going to fit this project really well too. It's also going to fit the rest of the style that we have on the back of the truck. So we did steel supports, we'll do a steel bed frame and all that kind of stuff, but for the drawers themselves we're going to make these out of wood. So today we're going to be doing the simpler of the two drawers. We're going to be making the storage drawer. So this one is going to basically just be a big box. It's going to be put on those heavy duty drawer sliders that we installed last week, and this is just going to have space to put things. It's just going to have a couple different cubbies in it, and it's just going to be a place to do bulk storage of just the random stuff that you want off-road, as well as like some clothes and some other stuff like that that you're going to want to have in the back of the Bronco, so you don't have to have so many like bags just floating around in the truck. Now to do this, I picked up a few different pieces of wood to make this happen. I tried to find as cheap of a way to do this as I could, but wood is still a little bit expensive, and I do want this to be durable. So for the base, for like the floor of it, we're going to be using this sheet of 1/4-inch maple plywood, I guess is what it is. I don't know, I'm not a woodworker. It looks like plywood, but I guess it's maple wood. We're going to be using this sheet of 1/4-inch to be our floor for it. So I got a whole piece of it. It should be able to make both drawers, hopefully, but I've got a second piece if we need it. Now, for the sides of the drawers, I did go with some 1-inch thick, like, I don't know what to call it, some kind of hardwood, some 1-inch thick by 6 feet long wood. It's a 1x8 by 6. So I'm going to cut that wood down to be the height. So I need it to be 8.5 inches tall. So we're going to cut that down. We're going to cut off about 1 inch off of the edges of that wood, and that's going to be our sides. And I'm going to use the excess from it to make the cross supports throughout this drawer. Again, this should be relatively simple, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So I got the maple laid out on the table. I'm going to cut this down to the size that we need it to be for the floor, because we're going to use the floor as our template to build the rest of this box off of. So with that said, I'm going to see if I can finagle this big sheet of maple onto my table saw, and we're going to start cutting this into pieces. Before we get into all the cutting, you guys might remember this is our drawer slide system. We built these mounts last week, these upright mounts. On top of these is where we're going to build our bed support, but the drawers are going to go underneath it, and they need to mount to these drawer slides here. So we have a total of 20 inches in between the two sliders. Well, it's 20 1/4. I'm going to undersize it slightly between the two sliders, and 55 inches going to the back of the truck to take up all of that space that we have. So we are going to make ourselves a box that fits right here in this space and runs on these sliders to pull in and out of the truck. Now, let's get to cutting. Alright, I know that might have looked a little bit sketchy, a little bit janky. This is one of those times when you're cutting a full sheet. Fortunately, this is really thin 1/4-inch stuff, but definitely having a second set of hands would have been nice. I don't, I'm by myself, so it is what it is. I was able to get it through there, it's close enough. I'll run it through one more time just to clean up that straight edge, but it's close enough for what we need to do right now so that I can plan the rest of this build off of. If I did more woodworking, I would build out like a table saw table that had more distance on it, more length, so that I could better support a full-size sheet. But I honestly rarely ever do any woodworking. I have the table saw for stuff like this when I need it, but it'll work for what we're trying to do here. So don't come at me for some of my janky stuff. I was safe. I stayed away from the blade, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, let's move on. I've got these sheets cut down. Now we're going to start laying out the way this wood's going to look. Alright, so we got the basic shape of the box done. As you can see, we've got the two side pieces and we've got our floor done. I'm going to come through and do the crossbars. We're going to have to do a lot of, sanding and cleaning up and stuff like that. I actually double layered the bottom of this because I have enough of this 1/4 inch maple to do a double layer of it. So I put a 1/2 inch bottom on the bottom of this. It helps the screws bite a little bit better and it gives it a thicker, stronger base. Once we run a couple crossbars in here, I'm probably going to split this into thirds, run some crossbars in here and run the end caps on here. This should be more than strong enough. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make our crossbars and we're going to put this together, then we're going to do some sanding and some paint and prep on it. So let's get the crossbars into place and then you guys can see what this is going to look like, or at least what the basic finished product is going to look like. Alright, so we got the basic structure all built. Now I need to go through and do some sanding. I'm going to start with 36 to kind of smooth off all these edges. Then we're going to go up to 80 and then a 200 grit so that I can then prep for stains. We're going to knock out some sanding and some staining and then we should be able to get this thing installed in the truck. Alright, so you guys can see here we got the box done. I was originally going to split this into thirds and do 3 sections. However, I actually ran out of this thick piece of wood that goes in the middle here, and I don't want to cut into the last 2 boards that I have. So I decided to leave it just as a split drawer. It should work perfectly fine. I mean, like I said, this ultimately is just bulk storage, so this kind of works. You got some center support, which gives some structure to the whole thing, and then you got your 2 big bins to just throw things into for storage. If, moving on down the line, I find that I want to have more dividers, I can always add more into here. I can 3D print some stuff and really make this like very modular, but for now this is going to be what this looks like. So I'm going to let this stain dry for a few minutes and then we're going to go install it into the truck. Alright, we got the drawer slide all done. Let me show you guys what it looks like in the truck, kind of talk about it a little bit, and then we'll talk about what's going to come next on this Bronco. Alright, so as you guys can see, we have the drawer completely installed into the truck. It looks really basic right now, I know, because there's nothing on top of it, and it looks like it just kind of just plopped in there, but this is exactly how it's supposed to be. There's a little bit of wobble in the supports right now because they're just bolted in with some Tech screws. I really need to come over the top and build that upper frame in order to get this all of the structure that this thing's going to need. But I'm really happy with how this drawer came out. As you can see, it slides exactly like it's supposed to. You do got to give it a little bit of force, and I think that's just because some of the bearings are a little bit tight right now, but a little bit of extra force isn't too bad. That means that I know it's going to stay locked into place in the back of the truck where it belongs. Honestly, hopefully you shouldn't be opening up this drawer too much, so this is going to do just fine. To release it, you've got these 2 levers here. You push down on them and pull, and it'll kind of like unlatch a little bit, and then you can come over and pull it the rest of the way out like that. I am really a big fan of this. This is going to be super good storage for the back of this Bronco, kind of like the deck systems a little bit. Alright, so with this side of the drawer system finished, on the next one what we're going to do is build the kitchen side drawer. So the kitchen's going to be a little bit more involved. There's going to be a total of 2 drawers involved in the kitchen because it's going to have a sub slide out drawer. So that's going to be a much more involved process, and so that's why that's going to be all of its own video. This is going to show the basics of how I built the drawers. That way when it comes to the kitchen, I can skip a couple of steps when I shoot that video so that you guys can just get to the good parts of the kitchen build and all the specialty stuff that's going on to that kitchen drawer build. Anyways, I hope you guys like this. This Bronco's coming along really quickly. I'm going to try to knock out these other 2 videos here this week as well. So we're going to do the kitchen build out, and then we're going to come over the top of it and do the mattress frame build out and get the mattress installed so that in the back of the Bronco starts to look like an actual camper truck like it's supposed to. Got a few vanity pieces to do and some other stuff that I'll do off camera, but I'm really happy with how this is turning out so far. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to drop any comments down below and I will respond to them as quickly as I can. This truck is coming out really, really nicely. I'm a huge fan of what it's starting to look like. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe and follow along for more. Catch y'all in the next one.